Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the Arrowverse as a whole and DCTV as a whole, because we got a new show coming. So remember when that CW news came out where it was being, auctioned off, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Arrowverse is dead," but they'd already announced Gotham Knights, and now they're announcing another show right now. So 1 + 1 is 7, apparently. But yeah, so really random, but awesome and surprising and very intriguing news, because this is a spin-off I didn't see happening, or a new show in the Arrowverse I didn't see happening, but it sounds sort of cool and different. And it's also being led by someone that we all love. So I don't know why there is a lot of hesitation heading into this. I think maybe the hesitation would come later down the track when we learn more about it, if there is going to be any. But we got to talk about this. So this was just put out as like a general statement or general press release by Warner Brothers and the CW. I don't think any specific outlet had the exclusive, but we're going off the Variety article just because Variety doesn't have a ridiculous amount of ads on their webpage. It's pretty clean to read. But yeah, throughout the video, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this, and whether you're looking forward to it or you're intrigued by it, because I'm very curious to see how people feel. But let's just go through this article. So as we can read from the headline, David Ramsey to star as John Diggle in Arrowverse series Justice U in development at the CW. David Ramsey could be starring in his own John Diggle standalone series at the CW. Variety has learned that Ramsey is attached to star in the drama series Justice U that is currently in development at the broadcaster. But here's the actual synopsis or pitch for the show. After spending years fighting alongside masked heroes, Diggle, Ramsey, embarks on a new mission to recruit 5 young metahumans to live undercover as freshmen at a prestigious university. There, he will oversee their education and train them to become the heroes of tomorrow. The show is based on characters from the DC Pantheon. So just in regards to this, so when I first read it, because a couple of different outlets just put like a simple headline, just said like, kids that have powers that go to school. It didn't say that they were undercover and freshmen at an actual university. So at first, I thought it was almost like an X-Men type thing, and Diggle was like the Professor X in this situation. But really, it's almost just like I don't know if you want to say it's like a 21 Jump Street, but that was the first thing I thought of, like undercover in a high school. So I'm intrigued to see specifically why the reason is to go undercover at a prestigious university, whether there's suspicious things going on there and they think that's the best way to maybe get intel on it. I'm not too sure. But I think the reason that this concept works is that I don't think it's going to be like, I don't think the expectation is massive, and you can sort of have your own way with things. You don't have to follow, okay, it's a show on Green Arrow, oh, it's a show on Supergirl, oh, it's a show on The Flash, and you're meant to follow this like specific projection people expect with a character. You can sort of do what you want to do with it, which I think is a good idea. I think the most interesting thing is who are these 5 young metahumans. We will jump into who I think 2 of them could be. And there might be characters you're not expecting me to say either, but I think I might have an idea as to maybe who 2 of them could be. One of them specifically by name, and one just where they could come from as a whole. So we'll get to that later on. But the article does go on to say, in addition to the starring role, Ramsey is attached to direct the potential pilot of the series. He is also signed on overall directing deals. Or signed an overall directing deal with Belanti Productions that will see him direct multiple episodes of multiple series across the so-called Arrowverse. He will also continue to guest star in multiple episodes of different Arrowverse series as well. So they're saying that guest star and guest role thing that Diggle's been doing, that's going to continue. Now, I don't know if that means they're confirming it for this season as well. We know he's showing up on Batwoman this season. I'm not too sure what episode it is, but he's showing up on Batwoman soon. And in regards to Superman and Lois, he directs the next week's episode. I don't know if he's going to guest star on that. But also, you'd expect him on The Flash. I mean, he's guest starred the most on The Flash than any other character that didn't originate on The Flash. So I'd expect him on The Flash later this season as well, especially if he's directing multiple episodes as well. So I'd assume he's on Flash as well this season. But the reason that I think this show is pretty much going to happen is the fact that he's attached to direct. I mean, usually that doesn't happen for a bit, but I must say they are moving towards pilot territory. So this would probably film within the next 2 months. So I guess they would want a director attached, but I think this is going to film its pilot at the very least. Whether it gets picked up is another question, but I'd be very surprised if they had a John Diggle-led show that's new and they can sort of be creative with the way that they want to be. I'd be surprised if it doesn't get picked up, but that's a wait and find out. You don't want to jinx it. But it does go on to say that Michael Narducci and Zoanne Clark are attached to write and executive produce Justice U. Now, Michael Narducci, if you need to know who he is, he has been a producer and writer on Superman and Lois for the past, I think, for season 1. Not too sure if he's involved with season 2, but he was there for season 1, so you know he's coming from some good stock. Zoanne Clark, I think Zoanne Clack, sorry, I've mispronounced that name, I'm very sorry. She's from Grey's Anatomy and been there for a few years, so obviously long-running show and everything like that, which people enjoy. We also have Greg Berlanti, Sarah Schechter, and David Madden of Berlanti Productions executive producing, as well as Jeff Johns, and of course Warner Brothers Television is the studio. So that's pretty much the summation of what's happened there. But this brings up the big question that I have for this show, and it has really nothing to do with what's actually on the show when it starts. It's more what comes before. And that's, is this series going to be set up later this season on some of the shows or just one of the shows through guest appearances or a guest appearance by Diggle and maybe even one or two of these potential 5 young metahumans? Because, you know, if I think of shows that were set up not through a backdoor pilot on another show, but just through another show, I think of Legend of Tomorrow, which was set up through the crossover that Arrow and Flash had the previous season. And then, of course, on Arrow, around the middle of season 2, we had Grant Gustin appear as Barry Allen before he'd been hit by lightning, but just as Barry Allen and doing his CSI work that set his character up and gave people a taste of it. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if we get something similar with this, because I think they're going to go ahead with it. Might be wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me too much, especially because Diggle is leading it, that they take the advantage to set it up or at least plant a seed through some of the shows or all the shows, whatever they want to do. Now, in regards to these 5 young metahumans that are going to live undercover as freshmen at a prestigious university, who could they be? Well, I think 3 of them will be probably just completely new ones. I think the majority of them will be completely new ones that will probably meet in episode 1 or the pilot, whichever way you want to call it. But it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if maybe they give us 2 of them before the show starts, or we know of 2 of them and what their powers are and everything like that. So the first one is someone that could be appearing on The Flash later this season that was actually released through like a exclusive article about like a month or 2 ago. And that's Mika Abdallah. I think that was the actress's name. I think it was Mika Abdallah. She's playing a character called Tinya Wazo, and she's and otherwise known as Apparition from the comics. So she's appearing later on this season, and she's a teen metahuman that gets thrust into the world after things come out about certain things. We don't know what they are because obviously that's going to happen on the show. But if she gets overwhelmed by everything, wouldn't it make sense that someone takes her under their wing, which would fit into this show? And also, she's a teen, so that could mean 18, which would then mean freshman at university. That lines up. So I think Tinya Wazo, aka Apparition, is a good choice. And why would that come out in an exclusive article? A lot of people just leave that. They don't really publish that too much unless it actually means something. And maybe it's for this. Maybe they knew that there was a show happening, but they weren't allowed to say. They were just allowed to say that, you know, this person had been cast. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if that character is a potential character that shows up in this spin-off, or is like one of the 5 freshmen that are, you know, going to be going to this university. And the other option, I don't have a name specifically, even though it could be a name that I drop here, but I think one could just be from this group. And this could be maybe someone from Superman or Lois that is young and was taken into that government school that's now producing these powered people. So, of course, we saw Tag Harris in season 1 that got the powers from the ex-Kryptonite. So it could be him. I don't think it will, but it could be. But it could just be someone similar in that same age group that got powers. But maybe because of whatever happens in Superman and Lois and that, you know, that facility is torn down, there's still someone that is good-natured, good-hearted, but has these powers and just doesn't have anything to really connect to. And, you know, Diggle takes them under his wing, trains them along with these other people as well. So that's another one I think could potentially happen. Now, whether it's Tag Harris or not, that's a whole nother question. They could just make whoever they want this person that was also affected. But those are 2 that I could definitely see being optioned for this show. I know people are going to jump straight away to like, oh, what about Bart Allen? What about Nora? But Nora's older, and like I think they want like a completely fresh face in regards to, at this moment, we haven't met them specifically, and we haven't met too much of we haven't had too much development with them, and the show's going to develop them and their relationships and everything like that. So some of the other shows could maybe introduce them. Maybe there could be a random metahuman that shows up on Batwoman, or another metahuman that shows up on The Flash, or another metahuman that shows up on Superman and Lois that hasn't been announced yet. But those are two that I think, or two options that I think we could get placed into the show at some point. But yeah, we should learn more about this in the next month or two, because as I said, they're moving towards the pilot season where they film all these pilots and stuff like that. And that would include that Gotham Knights show as well that was put into development. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'd say out of the two of Gotham Knights and this one, this Justice U is definitely the one that would happen over Gotham Knights. But that's a wait and see, because we won't know for another month or two. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about all this. Are you intrigued by this show? Do you have any other options as to, you know, potential freshmen that could be a part of this 5, or a part of this group of 5 that Diggle's going to be helping out? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.